Right, so it says using a suitable database package, import this file using the following field names and data types. You are given the field names, you're given the data types, and also the format or the advanced settings. So first of all, we open up Access, click on blank database, select where you want to save it. You can browse it. I will save it on my desktop, let's say, and name your file. Let's say this is solution to Access EX2. And we click on create. Since the scenario is of import, so we close the blank table. We go to external data, new data from file, text file. Browse. You need to locate your file. This is JX offshore. Okay. Let me zoom in. You should try to guess, or let's say specify the field names as per the data rather than looking at the table in the paper, because in A levels they will not tell you which data type to use, which format to use, what settings you are to set. So I am probably not going to take the help from here. I will try to select the data type by looking at my data. So first of all, it is selected as delimited, which means that the comma separates each file. Over here, most of you skip the point that you had to select first row contains the field names. Then we click on next. Over here, we are to set the data type. This seems to be short text. This seems to be short text. Number is long integer. Anything with whole numbers should be set to long integer. Do not confuse yourself by selecting integer or long integer. So if it is whole numbers, set it to long integer. Talking about this name, that is short text. Distance needs to be double, which means it may have decimal in it. We have certain data which has decimal in it, so double. Operational is boolean or logical because only yes and no is displayed, so we are going to select yes or no. Capacity is appearing as long integer, that means it is whole number. Depth is double, that means we might have decimal in it. Then comes the height. Height also needs to be decimal. Diameter is whole number, so long integer. C is short text. Click on next. Primary key, we don't have to use the primary key because it's only one table that we are importing. So click on next. Name your table. Let's say it's offshore. And we click on finish. Once the table is imported, double click on it, view your data, and make sure that it's in the correct format. For example, I can see that the operational is appearing as checkboxes. That needs to be yes or no. And also there are certain fields which were supposed to be set as one decimal place, such as distance, one decimal place, and height to be one decimal place. So we head over to our design view. Height, we select height. Its number fields is this, the decimal places is set to 1, and operational was appearing as checkboxes, so its format supposed to be yes or no. You can double click it between the different modes or the different formats that we have, so it is yes or no. And then there's one more which is supposed to be one decimal place, which is distance. So we select distance and we set the decimal places to 1. Distance is 1, height is 1, and operational is yes or no. So in order to check our changes, we go back to our data sheet, we save our changes. You can see that distance is not appearing as one decimal place. There are certain numbers which are appearing as whole number. Operational is still appearing as checkboxes, and the height is also not appearing as one decimal place. So when you have to forcefully apply the changes, especially for the decimal places, we will go back to our design view, select our distance, come here, the decimal places is 1, we set the format to fixed. About height, we select height, the format is supposed to be Fixed. Fixed means that it will force one decimal place settings to all the records. Talking about operational, the format is set to yes, no, but it's still appearing as checkboxes. So we click on lookup tab over here and we change the display control from checkboxes to a text box. We go back to our data sheet, save our changes, and you can see that operational is appearing as yes, no. Distance is appearing as one decimal place no matter what. Height is appearing as one decimal place no matter what. Once this is done, we are completely in the correct format. So we are supposed to close this. Next point. You are to insert these three records. I will not be inserting these records, but you are supposed to insert them as per the requirement. Type it exactly how it appears. Case sensitivity also matters. I'll move on to creating the report. The very first thing that you are to build for the report is the query. So we go to create, we click on query design, and we add our table from the right hand side of the right pane, and we can close this. These are the fields. Contains a new field called turbine capacity, which is calculated runtime. The field will calculate capacity divided by the number of turbines. First of all, I'm going to add all my fields in the runtime environment. So I will click on ID, country, number, name, distance, operational capacity, depth, height, diameter, C. All of them are being added to my runtime. Right? All the fields added. Now we are to create a new field which is called turbine capacity. The field will calculate capacity divided by the number of turbines. So these are the two fields. So we'll just focus on the operation. Capacity divided by the number. Capacity is this field and number is this field. Once done, you will see expression 1 and the fields are enclosed by square brackets. So in order to execute this, you can just click on run to see whether it works or not. We have a last column added. It's named as expression 1. The expression 1 needs to be renamed as turbine capacity. So we'll just select expression 1 and type in turbine underscore capacity. Turbine capacity field needs to be one decimal place. We come here, we right click, we click on properties. It will open up the property sheet. You can see that we don't have any format for this, for the decimal places. We just click on run so that it applies it and then come back. And in the property section, now you see that the decimal places is visible. So you need to run it first in order to bring the changes for this particular field. It needs to be one decimal place and the format can be set to fixed so that it forces the field to display as one decimal place. Once done, we come back to our design view. So the first 2 points are done. Then it says show only the records with a C is not C or iris C and the operational is yes. So these are the criteria. C needs to be North C or we type in or Irish C and the operational needs to be yes. So operational, the criteria is yes. Once this is applied, we click on run to see whether they are applying onto our data. Operational seems to be all yes and the C is also appearing as North C or Iris C. So we have around 25 records up until now. Come back to the design view. This is also done. Show only the fields country, ID, name, number, distance, operational capacity, height, C, turbine capacity in this order with their labels in full. So you have to set the custom order. This can be done in the query. This can be done later on in the report as well. I will try to do it in the query. So first of all, we have country, then we have ID. So we'll select country first, which is here. So we select country. How do you select it? We go onto the top. Wherever you get to see this small black arrow, click it. That will select the whole column, and then click at the same area and drag it, bring it before ID. So this is how you can change the order in the query. Country, ID, number, distance, operational, country, ID, number, distance, operational. Then we have capacity, height, C, and turbine capacity. Capacity, height, C. Then we need height. Then we need C. Then we need turbine capacity. So we don't need name, we don't need depth or diameter. So I will uncheck these because these are not required for your report. So this is done. Sort the data into ascending order of country and then ascending order of name. Now, there are two fields which are to be sorted, very important. If you are to do in the query, if you are to sort two fields in the query, then you need to make sure that the first field which is to be sorted needs to appear first from the left. The very first field is country, which is supposed to be ascending. Name unselect kar diya. Okay, we also need name. So name was where? After ID. Okay, so name is done. We'll bring it back after ID. Okay, so ascending order of country, ascending order of name. So country is appearing before the name, which is why I can do this while staying in the query. This needs to be ascending and this also needs to be ascending. This can be done in the report wizard as well. However, when you do it in the report wizard, the order will change once the report is built. The fields which you sort, they will try to appear in the first two columns or three columns, whichever number that you basically sort, they will come at the start. So if you are to do in the query, just make sure कि जो sort करनी है field वो सबसे पहले आनी चाहिए. जो पहली field sort होनी है वो पहले आनी चाहिए order में from the left. ठीक है जी. So ये भी हो गया. Fits on a single page wide. Later on, orientation later on. Calculate total number of turbines, places at the bottom of the report. Label this. All of this is to be done later when we build the report. Right now, we are just going to save our query by the title of our report, which is Power from North and Irish Seas. So we close this. It asks us to save changes. We're going to type in the title for our report, which is Power from North and Irish Seas. Power from North and Irish Seas. Saved. Now what do? You click on the query, you go to create, you click on report wizard in order to build report. Make sure that the query is selected. You need all the fields in the same order. Click on next. You're not supposed to do any grouping as of now, but so we're going to leave it blank. We just click on next. Ascending, descending, we have already done it. Next, layout needs to be tabular. The orientation needs to be landscape. It will fit on a single page. So this is checked. Click on next. The title of the report is exactly the name of my query. So we don't have to type the title. You just click on finish. Report is generated. Let's see what's left. Single page wide is done. Orientation is done. Title on the top is done. The only thing which is to be done is total number of turbines placed at the bottom of the report. Label needs to be added to that total. And then you also have to add your credentials in the footer. The very first thing that you do once you build your report, you need to check your data and the labels are appearing in full. So you close the print preview and straight away head over to your layout view. Over here, we're going to make adjustments to our data. Select the field, hold down control, select any record to select the whole column, and then resize. ID, you can move this. We have name, number, the label is not fully visible. Distance, double click on it to best fit the operational, double click, capacity, height, the turbine capacity. So now my data is fully visible, the labels are fully visible, the data is fully visible, and they are evenly balanced throughout the page. This is how the report should look like. Once done, we are to find the total number of turbines places at the bottom of the report. The total number of turbines are basically the number of turbines in all at North and IRSCs. So for that, we're just going to go to our layout view. Select any of the columns. That will select the whole data. And then you have to count the number of turbines. So we select the data, we come down to totals at the top, drop it down, and we click on count records. So that will give you the number at the bottom. So there are 25 turbines at North in IRSC. You got this? Now we need to add the label alongside this total, which is 25. The label needs to be total turbines in operation. So we go back to our design view. Over here, we can see the count. The label is to be placed right next to it. So we click on report design, we click on the label, and we draw a label box. So total turbines in operation. You're not supposed to worry about how this is placed because you can always change the placement by going into your layout view. You can also change the format if you want, although it's not specified, but let's put it on bold and set the color to black. Right? Looks better. So technically this is the end of our report. We also have to add our name in the right of the footer. So go back to our design view. I'll come to your question. Page footer on the right hand side. The right hand side is already added with the page number and this is added as a field. This is basically an expression box. So you are not supposed to delete this like this and write your name, right? Because this is an expression box. You are to remove this whole box altogether and then add a label box. Type in your credentials. Again, not worrying about how it is being placed because we can always change the placement in the layout view. That's it. This was your report. Question? किसको? जो नंबर वाला कॉलम है उसको ही सम करेंगे एक ही जितने रेकॉर्ड्स हैं if जो वैल्यूज आ रही 55 6 एक मिनट. So it's a calculate the total. Right, you're right. So this was basically the addition of all the turbines. So we'll just select number, layout, and we take a total of this comes out to be 958, and the label needs to be right next to this. Number 55, number 100. Yeah, it says the number of turbines. Calculate the total number. Number is basically italic, so this is a field. Hanji, Burhan. Acha. So the number comes out with 958. So this was the solution to your first report. Now second, produce and extract. Extract is basically a piece of data which is to be exported to some other software. It may be taken to Word, it can be taken to Excel, it can be taken to some other application where you are to build a chart or build a table. So extract is something that you are going to extract it from Access. How do you do it? Report is already made, you save your changes. I told you whichever object that you are making or working on, you have to start with the query design. So first we click on create and query design, add our table which is offshore. Original data added. Select only those locations in the United Kingdom in the North Sea. So we want to have the United Kingdom, which is based on the country. The criteria is United Kingdom. Click on run to apply this. Next, in the North Sea, so that means the criteria for sea is basically what? North Sea. This is North Sea, so we copy this, and the criteria for sea is going to be North Sea. Click on run to apply. Check whether it's appearing or not. Come back to your design view. Capacity of 90 or more megawatts. So we add capacity 90 or more. So that means the criteria needs to be greater than or equal to 90 because the capacity is already given in megawatts. So these are the records. Now what? Which are operational. So we add operational as well. Click on run. Only the ones which are operational. So you can see that there are a couple of turbines which are not operational. So we just put in the criteria for operational as yes. Click on run. These are the records. Select and double click so that they are best fit. Show only the fields name, C, capacity. We are to show only these three fields name, C, capacity. So name is supposed to be added. Now add name C. Bring C after name. Capacity after C. And operational and country are not required. They are not supposed to be visible. So uncheck them. This is what we want. Now sort the capacity in descending order, largest to smallest. So we have capacity and we are going to sort it to descending order like this. Click run to check. Capacity is in largest to smallest, that is descending order. And this is basically is what it is, our extract. You don't have to do anything else. So we are just going to save it, close the query, save the changes by the name extract. Now you know which data needs to be extracted from Access. So you select that query, you go to external data, and from here you can go to export section. You can export it to Excel, you can export it to Word. As you advance, you will get to see that you are to build a chart based on the extraction. You may have to put it up in your evidence document. That means you have to export it in Word, right? This may be used later on in your mail merge as well for your P4. So this is how you export. You build a query, you apply your criteria, make sure everything is correct, and then select that query, come down to external data. If it is supposed to be for Excel, then click on Excel. Or if it is for Word, you can export it in Word. So if I click on Word, it'll ask me where to save it. You need to set the location of the saved file. You browse, and let's say I'm going to save it in the same folder. This is by the name extract. We click on save and open the destination file after the export operation is complete. That means it will save the file first and then it will open it up in Microsoft Word. So I can check this and click on OK. So this is being exported in Microsoft Word. That is one type. For instance, if they ask you to, create a chart or something or a bar chart, select this, come down to export Excel. Again, you need to set where you want to save it. Browse. I'm saving it in the same folder by the name extract. You click on save, click on OK and close. Come back to your folder. You will get to see that the extract is basically present in the Excel format. So double click on it. This is your data. So we can make a chart if we want. We can select the data. We go to insert and bar chart. Simple bar chart can be made. Right. So this is how you are export, and this is the solution to your exercise 2.